Hey folks, everything new under the sun. This is a bit of a sneak peek at a video that I'm making about the Jubilee as versus the Shemitah or sabbatical years. So we're gonna take a look at that probably in the next couple of days here. But I want to take a look at some current news that's happening, and this is your Hedge article. Mysterious GPS disruptions spread in Texas near Fort Hood. GPS interference in Texas has spread from Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area to now east and west regions of Waco, Texas. One of the areas of Waco with high levels of GPS interference is butting up against America's third largest military base, Fort Hood. There's some GPS jamming going on. Who could be doing this? I suggest it could easily be Russia, as there hasn't been a lot of kind of overt, obvious shock and cyber attacks by Russia yet, although there's been lots of attacks on Russia from the United States. And I think we'll start seeing that as Russia starts really reaching out, increasing in cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are relatively cheap compared to conventional warfare, weapons, dropping bombs, moving troops, etc. And so it's very easy to use cyber attacks, cyber warfare to attack an enemy. And I'm still at this point surprised Russia hasn't really done a lot more, because I don't think the US or Canada or any Western nation is as protected as maybe we think we are. But I think Russia will go after military installations versus civilian infrastructure, certainly in the West, because if they start going after civilians, that would definitely kick off wide open World War III. So it makes sense to me that this could very well be the Russians maybe testing out some cyber attacks, cyber hacks, and just seeing what damage they can do. And they're disrupting GPS now. There's significant interference, and they're looking into this as well, trying to figure out what is going on here. And the FAA said it was investigating GPS signal degradation in the metro area and looking closely to see if it could be due to possible jamming of the global positioning system. So far, the FAA has found no evidence of international interference, says this. Okay, so we'll wait until, I guess, stage 2 of jamming comes out, and there's some, a significant aircraft loss or something like that related to it. In somewhat related news, I think, a Russian Angara rocket launches mysterious military satellite. Now, we all know that the GPS system relies mainly on satellites, geosynchronous satellites around the Earth, to give global positioning information. They triangulate whatever the devices you're holding, your GPS. It triangulates using those satellites and figures out where you are. Now, there are ground-based satellites that also provide extra accuracy in measurement, which could be what those attacks are making use of in Fort Hood. There, the kind of ground-based satellites that would provide more accurate information along with the satellites in space themselves. But of course, this one's an interesting one. While this is going on, Russia's launching this military satellite, a small military satellite, on Saturday, October 15th, pulling off its third orbital mission in less than a week. It says at the estimated time, the spacecraft was launched into orbit and accepted control from ground facilities of the Russian Ministry of Defense. It says a roughly 330-pound, let me scroll up there, MK3 is headed for a sun-synchronous orbit about 190 miles, 300 kilometers above Earth, according to every astronaut. It's unclear what the spacecraft will be doing up there. And my suggestion to you is that maybe this is the next leg of the GPS cyber attacks. Maybe they have a GPS satellite killer up in orbit. If they don't already, this could be adding to it. What else would they be doing? It could be some space imaging, it could be some space weaponry to shoot down into Earth, but more likely they have military satellites there that would take out other satellites, i.e., GPS positioning satellites, or even Elon Musk's Starlink satellites. Sorry, guys, I've got something in my throat. But GPS Starlink satellites, which move in a train around the Earth, and there's I think there's thousands of them at this point. For Starlink, and so certainly we know Starlink is causing the Russians all sorts of trouble in Ukraine. So it would make absolute sense that they would be interested in taking out those Starlink satellites. It's a fine line between, shooting down satellites and causing World War III, and just kind of having them up there covertly. It's a fine line that the Russians are walking. They don't want to. They don't want to ignite World War III, but certainly they want to get rid of advantages on the ground in the Ukraine that the Ukrainian soldiers are using. So GPS and Starlink satellite for communications. China's oil imports soar as Beijing prepares to supply European fuel demand. So now China is supplying Europe because Russia is unable to with its pipelines. Interestingly, Russia, as we've read in an article before, is simply transferring all its fossil fuels to China, and China is reselling it to Europe. So in a roundabout way, Europe is still getting Russian crude oil. So there you go. This is an interesting one. So Boston University is working on a COVID variant that has an 80% kill rate. Monday's report in the Daily Mail that the University of Boston has engineered. Oops, computer locked up for a second there. Monday's report in the Daily Mail that the University of Boston has engineered a chimeric COVID that has an 80% kill rate in humanized mice has caused quite a stir. In an effort to research what makes Omicron so transmissible, and funded in part by grants by the NIH and Anthony Fauci's NIAID, a team of researchers cobbled the Omicron spike protein to the original strain of COVID-19. Playing with fire, my goodness. And this is now it's not in Wuhan, in China. This is at Boston University. The resulting virus was 5 times more infectious than Omicron. And this has an 80% kill rate. You talk about zombie apocalypse. We are now creating this virus on our own soil, and we're like in North America. All it takes is one of the workers to make a mistake, carry this 5 times more infectious disease outside of this lab where it's being tested, and we have a pandemic starting from North America. We don't need a wet market in China anymore. This is a problem. I don't know why they continue to test with this. You talk about pestilence in the last days and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in Revelation 6. And we are shooting ourselves in the foot. We humans, we're playing with fire, and we're not repenting for any of our sin. And so God's certainly not going to come help us because we've told him to get out of here. The Omicron spike protein was an unusually large number of mutations and is considered the major driver of these phenotypes. We generated chimeric recombinant SARS-CoV-2 encoding the S gene of Omicron in the backbone of an ancestral SARS-CoV-2 isolate, and compared this with the naturally circulating Omicron variant. The authors speculate that the chimeric strain is unlikely to be as deadly in humans as it was in mice, because the specific breed used in testing are more susceptible to severe COVID. I wonder how they're more susceptible to severe COVID. There have been talks about vaccinated individuals having a suppressed immune system. Interesting, right? Are these mice actually, well, maybe they got the shot, right? And so maybe they're more susceptible. This video is probably going to be taken down. So I'll end with this. Officials urge residents to pack go bags for eruption. Prepare for eruption at world's largest active volcano in Hawaii, Mauna Loa. This is recent news. Mauna Loa is lighting up. You talk about volcanoes, earthquakes in diverse places, and this is happening right now. And the government has told people to create go bags. Seismic unrest is building at the world's largest active volcano in Hawaii, where officials are urging people on the Big Island of Hawaii to pack go bags and prepare for inevitable eruption of the giant Mauna Loa volcano. Remember the Ring of Fire. Watch for the Ring of Fire to start lighting up if this starts going. Yesterday, the Volcano Observatory said they had detected 65 small magnitude earthquakes 2 to 3 miles below Mokuaweo caldera beneath the upper elevation northwest flank of Mauna Loa, an increase in activity from ongoing period of unrest. GPS instrumentation on Mauna Loa continue to measure inflation at rates elevated since mid-September, indicating the magma is building inside the volcano. So residents being told to have go bags ready for an inevitable eruption of Mauna Loa. Earthquakes in diverse places, volcanoes going off. Look for the Ring of Fire again to heat up. And you need to be prepared, just like the residents of Hawaii. Excuse me. And be prepared for the return of the Lord. But I think hard times are going to come. I think we're going to be here for the horsemen of the apocalypse, which I do not believe are the wrath of God. The wrath of God starts in Revelation 6, verse, I think it's 12. The sixth seal, where the sun and the moon go dark. That's where the wrath of God starts. Before that is really the wrath of Satan and the result of the sins of mankind on this earth coming back at us effectively. And I think we're going to have to live through that. We're going to be a witness, even martyrs, for the cause of Christ. And it's going to be very hard. I'll admit it to you. It's going to be very hard for Christians. Many will fall away from the faith because they didn't have deep faith to begin with. So you need to grow your faith in Jesus Christ and trust Him through the hard times, because hard times are here. Hard times are coming even more as we go forward. More pandemics, more pestilences coming our way. So much so that people indeed will be falling away and blaspheming God for the things that are coming upon them rather than repenting of their sins. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.